Welcome to My Sister's Budget. The screen you're looking at now is the home screen for our setup wizard to give you a feel for how to set up the budget the first time. My Sister's idea, as we'll see here in this diagram, builds on the concept of putting cash into envelopes and keeping track of money in that way. It is an electronic version that builds on that concept. As you look before My Sister's Budget, as people look at their money in a checking account, it's jumbled and not really set aside for any specific amounts. After My Sister's Budget, you can see clearly they've got amounts that are determined, and they know that their balance is made up of those things that they have to take care of. As they get paid, you see that it goes into those categories and certain amounts that they would predetermine, and as they spend money, it would come out of those same categories, giving them a way to make sure that they stay within the amounts they've allocated for themselves on a monthly basis. We're going to go ahead and get started, and the first step in the budget is to name your budget, and we'll give it a name like Smith Family, a sample family that we'll put together. Be sure to save it to a location that you will be familiar with. Next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and choose our categories. Now there are a number of categories here that can be chosen. We're just going to choose some of the more common. Gasoline is one that we'll need since gas will soon cost $5 a gallon. Groceries, since we all want to eat. We're going to go ahead and include a mortgage. We're going to include a miscellaneous category. And you'll notice that these categories can be added by either double-clicking or clicking on one and adding the category. Utilities we'll add, and we're also going to add a couple of categories. It's a good idea, especially for families or couples, for husbands and wives, to have their own categories. So we're going to have a category called Jason, because we know that his wife would want to give him a small allowance, to live on. And his wife, Mary, will also give her own category. And notice that those are added in this side as well. Once we've got our categories selected, again, you'd have several more than that categories as you went through your own budget. The bank account that we'll set up, we're going to give it a real creative name like First Bank. Go ahead and fix that little mistake there. And the current balance, since Jason was just paid, we're going to give them $1,789.34, which is an amount we'll use later in the setup process. First thing we'll do after setting up our accounts is to set up our paychecks. The first thing we'll do is name the paycheck. We'll call it Jason Paycheck. Jason gets this paycheck every 2 weeks, and his net paycheck is $1,500. Notice that First Bank, our account that we set up, is the place where that money would be stored. The next step in the process, which is the most important, is to set up our paychecks, to divide it, decide where our money is going to be allocated. This will take some thought, and it's important if there are couples involved that they have some discussion about this. One thing you'll notice that Jason's paycheck, since it comes in every 2 weeks, gasoline, we've decided to set aside $250 for it in monthly amount. Notice that that amount from Jason's paycheck is just half of that because he gets that twice a month. Groceries, we've decided on $500 a month, so we'll put $250 from that paycheck. The mortgage, we'll put in $500. Miscellaneous, we'll skip for now. Utilities, we're going to go ahead and put in $200. We're going to give Jason and Mary, we'll give Jason $50, and we'll give Mary $100. Give her $200 a month. The balance of this will go into the utilities, or the miscellaneous. I might point out that the miscellaneous we've done to kind of catch the amount for brevity purposes, but you may have several other categories you want to allocate to, maybe insurance, entertainment, piano lessons, babysitting, whatever it is that you may have. One thing to remember on this step is that once this remaining amount down here is zero, the next button will highlight, which will allow you to proceed. The next step in our budget is going to be to set up our beginning balances. Everyone has to start somewhere with their budgeting. We have a certain amount available to us, and what we'll do is figure out how we're going to allocate our $1,789 down here, 34 cents, that we started with. We know there are expenses that we have to fund first. We know that we'll need to have money to pay our mortgage. With our mortgage in this case, we're going to go ahead and include half of the amount because we'll get paid again before the mortgage is due. For groceries, we're going to want to have plenty of money to make sure that that we can eat. So we're going to go ahead and put in $250, half of our amount, into there. Utilities is going to be due, so we're going to need the whole amount there so we can make sure we pay all of our utilities. Gasoline, we're going to go ahead and include $200 because it is expensive to make sure we have things done. Miscellaneous, we don't know what will come up, so we're going to include, actually let's go ahead and include $300 there. We're going to go ahead and give Mary her full allotment, and Jason will have to settle for $39.34. So you can see as we sum those up, our balance goes down here to 0 for what we have to allocate, and we're able to go on to the next step. Notice here a summary. We're able to see what it is that we've set up. If you decide you want to go back, you can go back and make those changes. But we're ready to budget. And we'll go ahead and click Next, indicating to us a small explanation here that you can read through. As we click Finish, you'll notice that our budget has been set up. Look up here in the upper left, My Sister's Budget, Smith Family. So now we have that file. Our first bank account with a balance of $1,789.34. You'll notice that matches this balance down the lower right of $1,789.34, which is the total of our categories. This screen is what we refer to as the dashboard for My Sister's Budget. It's got the gauges and information that we need to manage our finances. We see our category summary here, what's coming into them each month, the category, and also what's currently in those. Over here on the left, we have our account summary, our paycheck summary. We'll receive the accounts and paychecks that we set up. These are all our choices, and those things can be changed. One thing we might point out on this screen is that if you notice up here, these buttons in the top row, if I click on this account button, the account section goes away. I can bring it back by clicking the same thing. The same with the categories and also with paychecks. If you would like to as well, you can also customize these, and you can drag these over into different places, and you can see that it can be moved around wherever we would like. If we want to drop the category summary on this side and the account summary over there, we can certainly do that. So there's a lot of flexibility built into the budget. My Sister's Budget provides people a way to manage their money and to be on top of it in a way they may not have experienced in the past. We encourage you to take a look. There's a trial version available on the website and certainly be available to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this brief presentation.